Okay, you guys, I am so excited for this morning. We tried so hard to start right at 11:11, but we had a few things that we were getting ready because we have something that is very special for you guys today. I am so pleased to introduce for not the first time. She's been on before, okay? So those of you who've been following us either on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching in, I know that you have already met this beautiful, amazing healer. But what I want to share with you is some of the stuff that she's been able to help me with personally. And I've asked her, she's very, very busy. She's out in San Francisco area right now, and she's very busy, but she's agreed to meet with us today to go through and teach some things about how you can check your own alignment on your own cosmic blueprint. And I'm so pleased. This is Tomasa Macapinlac. And 27 years ago, Tomasa underwent a profound health transformation, prompting her transition from a high tech career to the realm of Asian healing arts. And in 2006, she secured a National Diplomat of Asian Bodywork Therapy certification, where she's fused Chinese medicine and Jyutsu to birth her unique, vibrant energy flow system. You guys, she is the real deal, and I love her in every way. She's just amazing. She has earned the title of the Self Care Queen and Shaman for the Stars. Okay. Tomasa empowers individuals for self help healing, tools for pain relief and equilibrium, offering an array of options, including classes, workshops, retreats, digital information products, and her book, 30 Days to a Vibrant, Healthier, Younger You. And you guys, Tomasa, she's been going around and speaking at our conferences, and I will tell you what, her rooms get packed. So whether you're watching this now live right now, or you're watching it on the replay, or you're going to be at one of our upcoming conferences, make sure you get into her rooms quickly because she packs the house. So this is Tomasa Macapinlac. Thank you for joining us today, beautiful baby. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm excited to come on live here and share some of the wisdom and the experiences and stuff that I have observed and has been channeled through me, through spirit. So, yeah, I'm excited. So, thank you for inviting me and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel super excited. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull the very first slide up so that you can jump right into this. And I'd love to have you tell people also how they can connect with you if they want to do their own reading with you, because I know they're going to want to when they're done seeing some of this.
Okay. So one of the things I asked Tammy to do, because I did a Facebook Live about maybe a month or so, 2 months ago, actually before the last conference, Energy Healing Conference in Layton, Utah. And, I explained a lot of things there. And if you're listening today, and I apologize if you didn't get to see that last video or that last Facebook Live, but I wanted Tammy to come on today and have a conversation with me because she had a reading with me back at the end of September of last year, right before her Pocatello event. And she was feeling a certain kind of way. And after she had a reading with me, a few days right before she left for Pocatello, she sent me this beautiful text. And let me tell you, when people send me texts telling me how things have changed, and it's not about ego, it's about me really wanting to have people be who they're supposed to be here on the planet.
Yeah.
And so, I felt that when Tammy sent me that text, I was like, oh, I feel so good that she is doing what she's supposed to be doing. And so I wanted to talk to Tammy about, Tammy, can you tell people a little bit about how you felt after your reading back at the end of September?
Yeah. So I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit that I cried, not cried, but like ugly cried right through our entire, it was like a 2 hour you know
Reading.
session together with
Yeah.
you. And I literally don't know if I've ever felt more seen, um it wasn't about like, oh, like validating my ego. It's not like that. It was just like sometimes you don't feel as seen, like as like you are able to understand your own self, not like your psychology, not like just how your mind works, but like how everything works in like a big picture scenario. And to be able to understand yourself at that level, at that depth, that's pretty priceless because you get to like step into who you are even that much more. It's not just like of like only trusting your intuition. It's kind of like a little note from the universe saying, yo, you got this. You're on the right track. Keep going. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest takeaway a lot for many people. Am I on the right track or not? And I've read a lot of charts and actually send people away, for what they want to create in their birthday charts, we call them, because this natal chart is basically a picture of where all the planets were when a person is born. And so when I read Tammy's natal chart, I looked at it and I was like, wow, she's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing. So there were a couple of things I wanted to point out about um, Tammy's chart here. I guess I had some arrows on here, but maybe that's the next chart. There we
One
go.
right here. There.
Yes, 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 yes. So, the 11th house. So, a lot of people know their sun sign and they might know their moon and their rising and they might stop there. But it's all important, to be honest. And the house placement is very important. So, when we look at Tammy's chart here, the 11th house is the house of community building, tribe, social networks. And I want you to see this woman has a stellium. We call it a stellium. A stellium is when you have three or more planets in one sign or one house. And she happens to have four things in the 11th house. Huh. Think about it. She produces these energy healing conferences, okay? And this is like massive amount of people. I can't tell you how many people wish they could like put, what is it, like bring 100 people in their room, okay? But she can bring 1,000 people to a conference or more. Probably the next one will be at the big one in June, I understand, brings people internationally, which is huge. So she has her son. That's what the little circle there with this circle inside is her son is in Leo because she's a Leo. Leo is pretty much is a sign that can be a leader, and she happens to be a leader in a house that is about community building. And what I want to point out to you, this little four sign here is Jupiter. And Jupiter, remember, is the planet of expansion and growth. So that together with the sun, oh my God, it's like huge. It's like, I want you to think of this big energy. Now, she doesn't appear to be like intimidating or anything, but her energy is all around serving the people at the conferences. And I'm not just talking about the people who attend, but also the people who are vendoring at that conference and speaking at her conference. And I know that firsthand just from working with her since September, October timeframe. But she also has her Venus in this house. The Venus is where she has the little circle and the cross on the bottom. Venus is about relationship and what you value. So I'm telling you guys, she values this community in a huge way. She's about to cry here.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh.
She values this community in a huge way. So much that she puts so much love because Leo's about love, okay? And the will. So she puts so much love into these conferences, whether you feel it or not. I know it's there because I have never dealt with anybody like this before. Like, whoa, this is huge. And I feel you and I see you. And so, she has relationships. She's not intimidating at all, by the way. If anything, she's like, come on, come do this. I want to help you. I want to see you transform. Okay. And not to mention that her North Node sits in the 11th house. Now it's in a different sign, it's in Virgo. So what she's learning how to do this lifetime is to build structures around communities. And she's doing that with the energy healing conferences. Okay. So, Virgo is all about structures and organization and all that good stuff and writing. And so I see lately she's like, okay, I need to write blogs now. And so,
Yep.
she's stepping into her work. Now, I want you to know though, it takes a lot to do this for anyone to run any business, by the way. And so, one of the things I want to point out, and one of the things I notice about Tammy, is that she's always in her work. Whenever I talk to her, she's in some class, she's doing something, or I see it on social media. And so it's like, I want to point that out to people that you can live your life's purpose and you can be on track, but to really extend to your highest potential is about you stepping into your inner work. Tammy, do you want to say a little bit about that? Because I know you're always doing something to further yourself, to actually not even just further yourself, to grow internally.
Yeah. Okay. So I am like having a hard time not bawling my eyes out only because this is me. You know what I mean? It's like, this is my soul I'm showing here. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like super special and kind of vulnerable also at the same time. But I just feel like if I didn't keep myself as clear as I am, I would not be able to, what's the word?
Show up.
I wouldn't be able to hold space for the
Mhm.
type of energy, the amount of energy that happens at the conferences. And I definitely have like been through some things. So this is not like, oh, she looks like she can just speak naturally. No, I've been through it. I've been through some stuff, and I've really had to continue to work on myself for sure. And I feel so grateful for the connections, the people who are at the conference who support me in that way. Like right now, I'm doing a a breathwork class, and it has literally helped me to be able to learn how to regulate my nervous system. Um, and I wouldn't have known about that had it not been for that connection from the conferences. Do you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I'm always doing things so that I can be able to hold space for others and continue to do what I do. So yeah, thank you for bringing that out.
I also want to bring out something else in her chart because she is a teacher and she teaches online classes and you teach at the conference as well. And so she has Neptune in the third house. Now, in her chart, this is how her teachings show up. The third house is the house where we communicate. It is a house of education. It is also the house of how we speak, how we communicate. It could be writing, it could be speaking. It's kind of that Gemini energy, and I can say that because I'm a Gemini sun. But she has Neptune in this house. Now, the way I see Neptune for her chart here, and it's in a very optimistic sign, Sagittarius. Okay. And one thing I want to bring out here is that Sagittarius is all about the higher learning, the higher self. It's one of the most optimistic signs, and Neptune likes to see the positivity. Actually, likes to stay on that side. It doesn't necessarily want to see the shadows, but it likes to see the higher octave of things. And so Neptune here in Sagittarius is in the third house, and Neptune can represent the healing arts. It can represent any arts, but I feel that it represents the healing arts for Tammy. And so here it's like, she's a teacher of the healing arts. And that's what energy healing really essentially is, the healing arts, right?
Yeah.
And so this is something that comes out in her chart. But also, I want you to see the relationship it has with this stellium in the 11th house. So the blue lines are harmonious. The red lines are what we call challenges. Okay. She doesn't have too many challenges here, by the way. And even the challenges that are pointed out aren't really that big. Um, so she has Neptune here in the third house, and it's actually trining. Trining is actually a harmonious aspect. It is trining her Venus in Leo in the 11th house. So it's, this whole relationship building with the community and this whole thing of teaching them the healing arts. It is set up in her chart. So many of you might go, well, that's great. That works for her. Okay. But she does have some challenges here in her chart. Uranus here in Scorpio, you notice it has a challenging aspect to her Venus in the second house. And so as you can imagine, and this is true for anyone who has a business, or especially I actually see, when I see Uranus in the second house, is usually a representation that, oh, this is a money house, the second house, by the way. And so it's like, I think I remember telling you, large sums of money come to you, and then it dries up, and then it comes to you, and then it dries up. So, whenever she has a conference, then large sums of money come in, but then it dries up. So, usually when I tell people who have Uranus in the second house, okay, you cannot take that money and think, oh, yippee, I got a ton of money. It's like you have to plan, because it's like feast or famine. But I hate saying that, but it's like feast or famine. Like, woo, I got the feast. And then all of a sudden it dries up. And then a large sum of money comes in and then dries up. And so I think I had mentioned to her, you got to like regulate your own money. You have to plan ahead. And so when I see that in that house, I tell people, hey, I have a friend who's a real estate agent and has that in her house. I'm like, oh God, okay. Because I've seen it. Large sums of money come to you. Then it's like, oh, it's gone. So, and Leo likes luxury, by the way. And so, she does build a pretty luxurious kind of concierge for us all with the energy healing conference. And so, she has to make sure she takes care of herself while she's doing it, financially. And so I have pointed that out to her. But, I also want to bring out this Pluto in the first house, because Pluto in the first house, my Lord, it is about really stepping into being transformed all the time in your life. And so Tammy is always transforming herself, because Pluto is the planet of transformation. And the first house is really about, who are you? And how do you show up to the world? How do people see you? I do see her as a transformational leader, actually. But also because her rising is Libra, that's what these little scales are here, that symbol. This is all about her really being a great mediator. If you ever see her, people who have Libra in their first house, they are folks who are magnetic. People are drawn to them. And Libra is very fair. They're about balancing things. And so it's all about the balance. They never really want to do or have to deal with folks, confrontation. And if there is confrontation, they know how to smooth it over real well. And she's really good at all of this. And so, and it's not to say, oh, she knows how to smooth people. That's not what it's about at all. It's about, okay, how can I bring harmony to this situation? Okay. And that's how it always is. So, somebody with Libra rising, I've read a lot of Libra rising charts lately. And that's what I see with them. They're usually very attractive people. And I think, I'm thinking of my nephew's girlfriend, because she's a Libra rising. And I sent her a description of herself. She's like, yes, that is me. And so what I know about them, they're very diplomatic folks, very diplomatic. They're going to find the balance and see both perspectives and bring harmony to a situation. And so, Tammy lives her blueprint, and she lives it in a pretty good way. She does her inner work, and she's living her highest potential. Could she do more? She probably could, but she's doing pretty good right now. And I think the key I want to point out to people, because I'm a healer first. These charts came kind of organically, reading them back in 2018, 2019. I was just doing it for my students on the medicine wheel, because I was playing with it. It was a hobby, honestly. And then it came bigger, and people like, Tomasa, why don't you read my chart? I'm like, what? Like, you're really? I don't get paid for that. I get paid for healing people.
Mhm.
And one of the things I'm really good at is looking at people's charts and pointing out some of their health issues that might come up as well, because
Mhm.
that's where I started, is helping people with their health. And so one of the things I would say is, because I'm looking at Tammy's chart here in the 11th house, I would ask her, Tammy, now this might be a little vulnerable moment here. How's your sleep?
It sucks, honestly. But I just learned some things that help me. So I put a sleep mask on,
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
limit my screen time before bed, put
Good.
some
Okay.
oils on or diffuse some oils. There's a few things that I've learned. It's really, it's not just slightly important, it's critical for me in order to get a good night's sleep. So
Right.
good.
So one of the things I want to share with you is because you have the stellium in Leo. You really have, Mercury's in Leo too, but it's in the 10th house. We can talk about that because that's a career house. But um, she has a stellium in Leo. And so because so much Leo energy is in her chart, one of the things I would say, okay, Tammy, how that's why I asked her, how's your sleep? So that's heart energy in the modalities that I practice. And that heart energy is not necessarily something's wrong with her heart. A lot of problems of the heart function energy, I want to point that out. Heart function energy is
Yeah.
that people have a hard time grounding themselves at night to sleep. And so we call in Chinese medicine, your Shin needs to be grounded, right? I didn't even know Tammy had a sleep problem, by the way. I just looked at her chart and I'm like, you need to ask her, does she have a sleep problem?
Yeah, that's the thing though, is like you could do this for anybody, not knowing them on a personal level, literally just having their name, their birth date, like the information that you need, putting together their chart, the analysis of it. Of course, you do that part of it, but then
Mhm.
explaining it to them, you would be able to totally do that for anyone
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's a mathematical thing, it's like it's all here. you know.
Right, right.
So
So one of the things I would recommend to you as a practitioner of the Asian healing arts, Chinese medicine and Jinshin Jyutsu, which I've melded together to make my own vibrant energy flow system, is a heart energy flow would help you if you learned how to do that at night to ground yourself. Actually, when I was training many many years ago, I remember there was a student in class and she could never sleep. She probably said she slept maybe an hour or 2 hours a night of sleep, and I remember showing her some points, and I will show you some points. Actually, I can
awesome.
show you now. I showed her some points to help her get a good night's sleep. I don't think I saw her maybe 3 or 4 months later. And she looked at me. She was so excited. She ran up to me and she said, Tomasa, oh my God, I want to thank you. And I said, what's up? And she said, I'm actually able to sleep at least 6 hours a night now. And I was like, oh, that's beautiful. So I'm going to teach you something to do on yourself because it's
That's
it's going to
huge.
help the heart.
I'm gonna actually make you go bigger so that we can see you a little bit easier.
Okay.
Um, oh, let me go ahead and switch that. I did not mean to do it that way. I'm still figuring this thing out.
I get it.
So, um, if I can figure it out here, let's just do this. Then we can
Okay.
see.
So
Okay.
one of the things you're going to do is you're going to take your left hand. So this is my left hand.
Okay.
And you're going to take, so there's a point here on your chest here. So it's on the sternum and
Okay.
it's between the breastbone. So you'll feel a little dip there between the two breasts right
Okay.
there, the bone there in the middle. And it's above the xiphoid process. The xiphoid process is down there at the ribs where the ribs meet. So it's right here in the center. Let's see if I can maybe center that. There we go.
Okay.
Right next to the breastbone, right next to it's the heart chakra, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
call this consumption vessel 17 in Chinese medicine.
Mhm.
And then you're going to take your right hand and you're going to find this point here on your wrist. And it's on the baby finger side. Okay.
Okay.
So, but it's on the palm side. So it's a point we hold when we want to calm ourselves down.
Mhm.
Okay. Speakers naturally go to this,
Mhm.
and they don't even know they do it probably. But if you just hold these 2 points at night before you go to bed
Okay.
and breathe. So you got your breathing class down, and you got some points to help you get yourself to sleep at night. So let's just breathe a couple breaths here. And those of you who might, have a hard time sleeping at night, here's one for you here.
That's so freaking cool how I can feel my energy shifting.
Yeah.
As I'm touching 2 simple points and breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, whoever thought that you could just help yourself ground yourself at night to sleep. So
I
I
love
love helping people do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, that's amazing, and I actually do have a friend that I've been talking with online, and she's, like, really been struggling with sleep, and she's like, "There's something that I'm missing, and I don't know what it is," and I'm like, "I'll keep my eyes open," and here you are teaching me a simple little strategy, a little point, and she's familiar with energy medicine, so I'm gonna have to tag her or send her, this video. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. That's just a little quickie,
Mhm.
getting heart flows or learning how to do the whole heart energy function flow on yourself would really help you. I might have to look up. I have taught that class to some of my shamanic students. So
That's awesome. I love
yeah,
that kind of stuff. I geek out on that. Thank you. That's so
you're
nice.
so welcome. My job here and my purpose here in the world is to help people feel harmonized in their bodies.
Mhm.
And so in their health, but also feeling like they belong here in the world and they know their place here in the world, what they're supposed to be doing. I got assigned many, many years ago when I went to Peru back in 2012, and I was at a sacred site called Tambo. Now, listen, I knew nothing about helping people find their life's purpose, but maybe part of it was because I was on a mission to find my life's purpose in my late 20s, early 30s.
Mhm.
And I got put back on the path when,
Mhm.
after I was so off the path. There's things that happen in our lives. So for me, it happened that, Tomasa, we're gonna spirit puts this knee-jerk reaction into your life where, oh, you need to wake up and get back on the path. And I was put back on the path, I want to say back in or no, it wasn't 2000, it was 1996.
Wow, that's
Um, and so, and then I went to go get sessions from a Shin Jyutsu practitioner. And
Mhm.
I woke up one day, the first time I had her work on me, I said, I don't know what you did, but I'm coming back. And the big thing was I felt like I was plugged into source. So that's what we're doing is plugging ourselves into source when we hold these points here on ourselves and
Yeah,
breathe.
yeah.
And shamanism actually feels that and says that breath is spirit.
Yes.
So breath is spirit. We talked about that. I remember that.
Mhm.
So breath is spirit. So here you are, holding these points on yourself, bring yourself back to equilibrium, your health,
Mhm.
your sleep back to equilibrium,
Mhm.
and then, breathing. And that's the breath of spirit coming through you. I like to say that's life force coming through you in a
That's
very conscious way.
uh-huh.
So, you know, I guess when I went to Peru, getting back to that story, Peru, I was at Tambo. I'm sure I'm butchering the name, just like people butcher my last name. But I remember being at the sacred site. So how you get in tears when somebody sees you. I'm
Mhm.
in tears just touching this rock. I'm in Peru, and my friend is there. One of my students slash
Mhm.
or clients is there too. And
Mhm.
she's like, Tomasa, you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just getting so many insights and so many messages. And the tears just start rolling down my face. And one of the things I was told back then is, Tomasa, you need to help people get on their life's purpose. And I was like, what? I'd already been a practitioner since what, 1997, and here's 2012, and I'm sitting up here at this rock, and oh, well,
Mhm.
I help people get in there, harmonize their
Mhm.
bodies, right? And so it was like, no, but you're here to help people get on their life's purpose. Because the truth is that when we're doing things we're supposed to be doing,
Mhm.
your body is going to line up with it.
Yeah.
And when you're not doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing, you're going to have all kinds of dis-ease going on in your body. And I say dis-ease because
Yeah.
that's really what it is dis-ease.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
they call it
Heavy.
disease, but it's really dis-ease because you're not lined up. So if
Yeah.
you have any health challenges, this is called dis-ease.
Yeah.
And so my job is to help you get lined up with it and to get rid of all that dis-ease.
Awesome. I'm so excited. So do you want me to go back to that one slide again? Do you want me to pull it up and we can finish that part?
Are you talking about the slide of your chart?
Well,
Well,
just
I think
next.
we kind of done with Tammy's chart here. We kind of covered, what she's here to do. We covered what one of her disharmonies is going on in her body, and that was sleep. And I think, I think if we can get you harmonized with your sleep rhythms, then we can actually help you be big, in this world, even bigger. So imagine if you got a good night's sleep every night, what you could do.
That would be cool. That
So
would be
the
great,
physiology
actually.
is in your astrology. So she's pulled up this slide that I have shared. I shared this at the last conference. I'm
Mhm.
careful about sharing this, but it's funny, things show up for a reason. When I was putting my slides together for the last conference in October, this showed up. I did a search on my computer for something. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like,
Mhm.
this is the key.
It is awesome.
This is showing a natal chart. God shows up, in different ways for you. And when you need it, it's like, here you go, Tomasa. This is what you need to share with them. And so, you saw the natal wheel back there, but this is kind of the template of the natal wheel. We
Mhm.
say, the first house is really an Aries house. And if you looked here on the chart, I know it's kind of an eye chart. If you looked here on the chart, you would see that Aries is in the first house. Well, Aries is about who are you, okay? But that's not how it shows up on our own personal natal charts. But what's happening here is showing you what is each of the flows for each of the signs and what house they normally would, what they represent. And even, you would have to know the code for the whole body, all the safety energy locks, but it even shows that on these charts here. Even shows the spine, what vertebrae are affected by each one of these signs and things of that sort. So it's, and here in the middle is a star. And if you come to my event, I have you stand up and say, I am a star, because this is man. This is man in the middle, this is who we
Yeah.
are. And so you might be a Leo sun, which I don't remember what your Mars is in, but Mars is in something else. So she's the epitome of a Leo, but she also has quite a bit of Aquarian energy in her, because Aquarians like to organize communities, and you organize big communities, so it's huge. It's good. I've actually read someone's chart who has their sun sign in the sixth house, just like I do, and they're a Gemini, and they have a stellium in the fifth house. And so, part of her thing learning here, especially with the stellium in the fifth house in Taurus, is learning how to let go. And that's large intestine energy. Think about what the large intestine does.
Yeah.
It moves our stuff through us, right? And
Mhm.
so we have to learn how to let go. My stellium, I have a stellium. Not everybody has a stellium in their chart. My stellium is in the eighth house in Virgo energy, right? And so I noticed that, whenever I have too much to do, or in the past, when I have had too much to do, I get anxious. And it's
Mhm.
like, oh, and, my mind, I already have that Gemini nervous energy, things are going through my mind, but to also have all this Virgo energy, because Virgo analyzes, right? And so
Mhm.
it's like, okay, Tomasa, you need to calm down. And I won't even just say it that way, calm the F down, right? And so I found myself doing a lot of small intestine flows on myself, and I began to notice, like, let's look at your chart. How does this show up? It's like,
Mhm.
oh, so
That's
it's
cool.
not just stelliums, but what are your flows for yourself that you should be doing daily? And that's one of the things I like to point out to people when I look at the charts. Oh, you have problems with your energy, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, Tomasa." I'm like, okay, you need spleen flow. What's that? And she was like, spleen
Mhm.
flow is going to bring up all the energy, help you
Mhm.
have more energy daily.
That's cool. I love this. This just makes sense. It just feels really good. Those of you who are watching on the live, if you do happen to have any questions specifically for Tomasa, please let us know. We have just a few more minutes here. I want to go ahead and give her an opportunity to share how you can also do your own session with her. So I have this next slide, maybe. Let me grab it really quick, actually. I don't know why it's
Okay.
not popping up here, but we'll get it for you.
Okay. So one of the things she's going to show is how you can get a reading from me.
Mhm.
Basically, it's a cosmic clarity session. Now, it's not a full blown session that Tammy got, but it kind of gives you a taste of what I do, also a taste of who you are. And many people who have looked at us like they just go like this. I remember one lady at the conference, her friend was sitting next to her and nodding and laughing because everything I said, I didn't know this lady. I just looked at her chart, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, I have no cheat notes. I have no cheat notes, right? It's just
If
I
you just met her, yeah.
yeah, I just met her and she just left. Her friend went away to a class, and I remember the lady saying, "My friend was laughing because everything you brought up was like right on with me." So, and I said, "Well, that's good. Thank you for confirming that because I'm just reading because I'm being channeled. I say spirit channels through me. I
Mhm.
am a shaman of the Inca tradition, and one of the things we learned is how to track. And tracking is probably the equivalent to what some people call the psychic's medium, okay, or whatever. So shamanic tracking is different. So why would you get a cosmic clarity session with me? You want to know, or what's in a cosmic clarity session is how people see you. You understand how people see you because I think it's interesting to understand the perception of how people see you. You know, the energy of who you are externally and internally. So externally is the sun, internally is the moon,
Yeah.
and how you relate to others and what you require in a relationship. Now, one gal was just she's in a relationship, he wants to marry her. I want to know if he's the right person or not. And so it does show up in your chart, and it can be multi-layered, by the way. And when I say multi-layer, as you saw, I just told Tammy that she's not only just a Leo, but she has a lot of Aquarian energy in her, and that's the layer that presents in that house that her son shows up in. How you communicate with others will tell you, where your Mercury is, and it's not just what sign is the Mercury in, but what house is it in is important,
Mhm.
and what you are here to transform. Like Tammy had her Pluto in her first house. It's like she's constantly transforming herself. So it depends on what house that Pluto shows up and what it represents. And then what are you here learning how to be? That's your North Node. And so that would be like, okay, like I said, she's learning how to build structures in community. That's what her North Node was. That's what Tammy's North Node, because she has her North Node in Virgo in the 11th house. So North Node in Virgo is about structures. It's about communication, especially written communication. Virgo doesn't necessarily like to speak, but it likes to write. That's what I've
Mhm.
noticed about that Virgo energy. It's a little bit different than Gemini energy. Gemini wants to talk, 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 talk. Whenever I find somebody who talks a lot, I go, what's your moon or your Mercury in?
That's funny. My husband's a Gemini. So
He's a Gemini sun, but Gemini suns can talk. They're very good at that, and they can talk off the cuff. I'm pretty good at that. I enjoy talking, and then there are times where I got to go be introverted and say, I got to go shut down for a minute here. I need some time
yeah.
to myself.
Yeah.
And then I give you a brief overview of the focus in your life. Now, Tammy's focus on her chart, if I recall, I didn't quite look at it right now, but I'm pretty sure everything goes to that 11th house. It's all about community building. That's what her life is all about. I think that, sometimes we doubt what we are doing. Am I on the right track? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
And then you get it confirmed with a cosmic clarity session. And then, there are people who moved on from the conferences who decided to, upgrade and get themselves a comprehensive
Mm.
reading. And so that goes house by house by house and tells them. So if you want to book a cosmic blueprint reading with me or a cosmic clarity session with me, we have this QR code you can scan. There's also a link, but we can't see the bottom, but we can
I
put
know.
it
I
in
was
the section.
looking at that. I'm gonna see if I can grab the link and put it in the chat for people.
Okay. So I'm very busy. And I'm about to go to the conference. Let me tell you, when I go to the conference, I'm there constantly giving people their cosmic clarity session. And then
Mhm.
I come home and there are more people who have signed up to have Zoom
Mhm.
cosmic blueprint readings with me. So here I only have 10 slots available right
Mhm.
now. And then, so if you're interested, the link is going to go away after the 10th person signs up, literally, because I have programmed the link to do that. So if you're interested, I'm offering them today for $44. And it is recorded. I'm telling you, that is a big deal because the people at the conference, they don't even get theirs recorded, but they have me there to ask questions. And they
Mhm.
actually get a little booklet that says, here's your blueprint reading. So this is something you're interested in. You're wanting to find out if I'm on the right track. I noticed that whenever I used to have questions, I go get readings. I already knew the answers, and but one thing I'm really good at pointing out because I'm a shaman of the Inca tradition is that I'm good in pointing out where are the snags for you. What are the blocks? How can we move through that with you? And so I point that out because I want you to live your highest potential. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and get that cosmic clarity session book today. Okay.
Yeah, and I did go ahead and put that right in the chat, and then I
Okay.
also pinned it, so it should be really easy for people that are watching on the live or the replay to be able to get that, and that's really exciting, especially because I know how busy you are. So
Mhm.
and how much even just that little bit can be so helpful. So go ahead and tell them about this next part right here.
So, I know some people are like, but Tomasa, I don't know my birth time. I've actually had to rectify people's birth times. And so usually people know the day that they're born, they know the date. They might not know what time they were born. They might know, oh, it was morning or evening or whatever. So I have a time rectifier that I look at and I ask you questions and interview you. So it's additional $11. So if you don't know your time, then you can sign up for this link here. And so basically, you can book your cosmic clarity session without knowing your birth time.
Mhm.
And then this will rectify it first, and then I'll go away and take a look at your chart and go, okay, so we'll
Yeah, and
schedule.
that's only $11 more, and you have to do so much extra, so that's really cool that you're able to do that and show them.
Yeah, this is, by the way, after doing all these readings since October, or excuse me, not October, since January.
Mhm.
One of the things I've noticed is the amount of time it takes. I had a client, and I really appreciate that she saw how much time I put in to prepare for the comprehensive reading. And she said, wow, she says, thank you. I know it took a lot of time to prepare because I'm very thorough. Most people will tell you Tomas is very thorough.
Mhm.
And she goes, and I mean, I'm so thorough that I will tell people look at their particular chart and look at the major transits and tell them how they're going to be affected by those major transits, or the possibility how they might be affected by those major transits that are coming. And we have some major transits coming. We
Mhm.
already are in some. Whenever we have Jupiter involved in something, it's expanding, growing things. But I think everybody needs to watch out and understand. And I don't want to put the fear in you, but I want you to know that Jupiter is about to hit Gemini at the end of May. And I say that as a Gemini sun. So,
Mhm.
Gemini already is scattered all over the place, thinking about lots of things. Just imagine what Jupiter is going to do if it blows things up and amplifies them. So
Get
that
ready.
energy, it's not just ADD, it becomes ADHD then. And I hate labels, by the way. And so it's like, I told somebody, I said, okay, you need to learn how to calm yourself now before this comes. Because the biggest
Mhm.
thing you can do is ground yourself
Mhm.
and learn how to ground yourself. And she said, okay. She bought one of my 30 days to vibrant, healthy, younger you digital product. And I said, okay, you need to do the anti-aging flow in there. It's really a stomach flow. And
Cool.
stomach flow actually helps you to digest everything that comes through you, whether
Mm.
that be ideas, food, thoughts, whatever. And so
Mm.
I was like, you need to learn how to ground yourself with this flow. She's like, okay, thank you. I know she's looking at it now because she's like, oh, I better go and do this because I was like, this is coming. And so you need to
Mhm.
ground yourself.
Yeah. Well, this is I have a lot of people in my life that they say how grateful they are for the guides and the mentors and the people who, steered them down the right path, and how much it supported them. And you've definitely been a huge, huge supporter, and guide for me. So I am so thankful. I know that the information that you shared with me in that very first session, I wasn't just crying because it like made me feel validated. What it did was it showed me that I was on the right path. And then also some things that I could do for myself to support me on the inside too. It's not all about like the exterior. Sometimes the interior, the going inside, can be something that supports you more than anything. And so it's helped me in so many ways. And that's one of the reasons why I just feel so grateful to have you come on today, as busy as you are, preparing for the conference and everything, and giving people the chance to be able to connect with you and do a session with you no matter where they are. They don't have to be right in St. George. They can be anywhere in the world. And we do have people coming in from Canada to speak at this conference. So it is an international conference already, this St. George conference. And as of
Wow.
right now, we have over 600 people that have reserved their tickets. We do have just a few more. And so I want to go ahead and open that up, and let people know how they can get their own ticket to be able to come and meet Tomasa in person and do a live session with her right there at the conference. And also they could attend your class. So do you want to tell them a little bit about what's going to be happening also in your class as well?
Well, I'm going to be going into depth here and depth, and so I'm gonna that slide I showed with the wheel. I also am going to give people the experience. I always give people the experience of experiencing the work, but also I give people the opportunity to get a blueprint or a cosmic clarity session with me. We're going to be calculating your numerology because your numerology is part of your blueprint too. So you'll actually have a chance to do that in class. So it's not just about me speaking because I like to interact and I like to get people active because I don't want you falling asleep in my class. I want you to be alert and I want you to like apply this to your life because I think the biggest thing is application. You got to remember, I have an engineering background, so I'm all about the application of things. And so if I can get you to apply this to your life right away, that is, I have done my job. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're just fine. So I have somebody that has commented down in the comments, so I just want to address that. Jennifer says, thank you for your time and sharing your talents and your expertise. Thank you, Jennifer, for your comment here. That's so sweet of you. Liz Hammond Henderson says, I signed up with the link and it said to make an appointment for a time to talk with you, but I didn't see anywhere to schedule it. Do you know where they go once they pay?
She must have did the what do you call it? She must have done the one where she doesn't know her birth time. I will contact her right away. Usually,
Okay.
I look at those and I kind of go, okay. So as long as she has her email and her phone number in there, she should be okay.
Okay, that's awesome. I want to make sure that people are aware of all of that as well. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull the link up for you guys one more time. If you have any questions, this is the last time to do it at this time. And then, Tomasa, I would also really like to give people a chance to know where to go. If they're not booking one of these right now, or maybe they've already done a session with you, how do they connect with you otherwise? How do they?
Well, Shaman for the Stars website is not ready yet. It's something that I'm working on right now. So I'm rebranding you all because I've been the self-care queen since 2010. And so it takes a while to turn this boat around because I'm busy, right? So one of the things you can do is you can go to selfcarequeendom.com and take a look. It's still up and running. It's going to show you how to get a sample of my book, 30 Days to a Vibrant, Healthier, Younger You. It won't have astrology on it. As I said, this organically just started happening in 2018. I was doing it for my students, and I had a shamanic sister come in and say, Tomasa, I want a reading from you. I want to pay you for a reading. I'm like, what? And so then it grew that way. It grew by word of mouth. And then, it's just something, I guess it's a skill that I've honed and it's a great hidden secret, honestly. And so what's happened is people got to go, oh, I want this from you. And, Tammy even saw this at the first two conferences. What are you doing? You need to share this. You need to work with people.
I'm actually kind of embarrassed, but I was like, exactly what I said. What are you doing? Let me tell you what you did for me. Like, do you know how much that helped me when you did that? And she was like, yeah, like, I know. I'm like,
I
oh,
do know that. It's just, I think the thing is that I've been so busy with helping people harmonize their bodies.
yeah,
But, this gives it how should I say, a cosmic spin to it. And
yeah,
it integrates everything I do because I'm a shaman, I track, because I have these healing arts that I started with, back in 1996, 1997. It's
mhm,
like, oh, I can show you what to do with your body to help yourself
oh,
step
yeah,
into your highest potential.
oh, yeah,
So, so
that's
you
awesome.
don't have the stuff going, dis-ease going on in your body, because that's a distraction. It's a block,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The dis-ease is a block. And so you have to get that block out of the way so you can live your highest potential.
it
And so
is. It is so awesome. You are the type of person who you walk the walk, you walk the talk, or however you say that.
I walk the
Say that.
I walk the talk, I guess it is. And
You
it
do.
is true, I wake up every morning, I work on myself, and that's just, it's important to me. It's part of self-care, and I coined that whole self-care queendom back in 2010 when it wasn't really popular then.
Yeah.
So I warned people at the last conference. I said, I am, what did I call myself? I forget what I called myself. I said, but I'm ahead of my time. And so
Well,
I said, it's not an egoic thing, but this is what I noticed. I'm ahead of my time. And
yeah,
so, I'm going to share something with you that is ahead of your time, that's ahead of the time. So listen up, because in a few years, people are going to be going, oh, have you done your chart? And you can do this according to your chart and all that, right?
yeah,
And so, back in 2010, I just meditated on it because I was working with some business coaches, and it was like, what do I do? What do I really do? Oh, I advocate self-care for people, because I saw that if you don't work on yourself constantly, and a lot of people think, oh my God, that's a lot of work and time. But
mhm,
it's like, let me tell you, if you don't do this in your life, you make your life inefficient. So
mhm,
when you start your day off by working on yourself, you make
mhm.
your life so much more efficient. And things you think, you need to write, it's like, oh, if I need to write, man, that writing comes so much easier when I have taken the time to take care of myself.
Absolutely.
And it
Absolutely.
doesn't matter what activity you're doing. If you're running a business, you're so much more efficient when you take care of yourself first thing in the morning, because this is required.
Yeah.
It's like you step into it and then bam, it's like your day just goes with the flow. Those days that I don't take care of myself, I feel it. And I'm sure you can say the same thing too,
Yeah.
Tam.
Yeah, well, for sure, for sure. And I know that you do that. I've actually tried to schedule stuff with you in the morning, early in the morning, and you're
And
like,
I'd be like,
"Mm-mm,
nope, that's
that's
my
my."
self-care time.
Exactly. So I know you do this. You're like, "Not even a chance. Not even doing it." So
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I'm really funny about that. I hold the rope on my self-care time. And I,
mhm,
I want to advise everybody else to do that. Encourage you to
mhm,
hold the rope on your self-care time because it's important. Because you'll be a mess, your life will operate so much more
mhm.
harmoniously when you
Yeah,
start your day off with some work, some inner
yeah.
work. So
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I know that you've got a lot of other stuff to get to today, so I'll go ahead and let you go, but I'm looking forward to giving you a big hug on Saturday. I can't wait to see you.
yes.
And absolutely, and those of you who do not yet have tickets, we are nearing the sold out event number. So we need you guys to get those tickets reserved right away. You can either go right to our website, energyhealingconference.com, and just click on the St. George. If you want to see what other speakers are going to be there, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the comments here below so that you can check that out. And yeah, we are definitely doing some writing, just like you were saying, Tomasa. So we'll be putting out a new blog post today as well. You guys
Beautiful.
watch for that. And anything else that you'd like to close with today?
I don't think so. I just want everybody to step into their star energy, what they're here to be. By the way, Masa Carpacuna writes, as a shaman, that's the Star Keeper's rights. That's my mission here, is to have everybody step into their destiny. So,
Awesome.
and that when I received that right, man, I tear up. I tear up because I know that's what I'm here to do.
That's awesome. All right. Very cool. Well, you do a good job at it. We'll see you on Saturday. Love you, friend. Thank you.
Love you guys.
Hey, see you. Bye.
Many blessings.